Canadian aftershave, we'll call it. Hey folks, as you saw, I took that hard maple and made it into lumber in no time and piled it up. I got to move this stuff in just a minute, but before I do that, I just want to bring attention to this stuff right here, slab wood. If you have a sawmill like this, or any sawmill for that matter, waste is a big issue. And I've been battling waste and where to put it, how to deal with it for years. Now, in this machine, in this case, this makes waste so fast that the problem that I thought I had originally when I first started sawing has just been exaggerated, and I got to do something serious about it. And so what I've decided to do is I'm going to try to market some of this stuff. If you have a look here, that stuff right there, you're probably not going to side a building with it. It's too small, but you might use it for other crafts and maybe even for firewood. This stuff over here, this is all hardwood. This might be good for fires as well. I'm not sure you're going to put this on any building or anything, but the odd time I get some good stuff. But we're going to bundle it up here today with some strapping. And this will be a first for me. I've never used one of these strapping pieces of equipment here, but they look pretty straightforward. And so we're going to go ahead, we're going to put this ribbon on, this strapping ribbon I'll call it, and we're going to use these. And this is what's going to hold the tension on that ribbon or strapping. And then hopefully what that'll do is that'll create bundles for me. I can then go stack the bundle somewhere and I can get it marketed. It's a lot easier for me, especially if someone wants this material, to just pick up an entire bundle and drop it onto a trailer. Or even if I'm going to use it, it makes it a lot easier for me to deal with. As you know, if you dig forks under a pile like that and you lift it up, it might work okay until you hit a little bump or side hill, and then everything falls off and you're frustrated and you quit. And I don't want any more piles that look like this or this or this. I want something well put together. That's what we're going to do here, so wish me luck. Now, I think if I thought this through a bit better, at least if I planned ahead, I didn't know I was going to use the strapping until recently. I probably would have put the strapping down before I started putting the slabs in. Now that it's piled here, I can't really get under it too easily, but we're going to try anyways. You can see in between the black bars there. We'll slide it in there and hope it comes out the other side. There's all kinds of this stuff out there. There's metal stuff, there's stronger stuff than this, less strong stuff than this, but based on what this stuff costs for when the roll runs out, I think this is going to work well. I'm not sure. If you use this banding, pallet strapping type material, let me know your experiences down below. At the very least, I don't want it to break on me as I'm lifting it. And I also don't want it to break the bank because I'm probably going to be buying a lot of this. Alright, hardest part is probably getting this thing through. We did it. So here's the piece I'm going to use. And this will be my first time ever using one of these, so don't laugh. Goes like that. This piece comes up, and I gotta cut this, I suppose. I'm going to give myself lots of room here, because just in case I make an error. What happened? There's that. I'm assuming you snug this up by hand if you can. I'd say that'll do it. So, I'm going to start way back here. Let me think here for a minute. So this bottom one, I believe, goes under like that. This one, the top one, goes in like that. Get in. I think that's it. Oh yeah. Well, you can certainly put some tension on that. That's real tight. I think the next step, we cut it. And hope I did it right. Hey, look at that. I just have to figure out this right here. I'm thinking I can feed it back as I'm tightening it in the future, but worked quite well. Let's try the next. So one of the reasons I decided to go with this type of clip is if things loosen up, I can put this back on the strapping and tension it again. And as you know, when you move stuff around, sometimes things do come loose, they shift. And so I'm hoping this was the right decision. Anyways, we'll get this on there. And I'm not quite sure where to cut this yet, so I'm probably using more than I should, but that'll come with time. You figure out the exact length. There we go. That goes like that. Top one goes through there, goes through there. And I don't know if I can pull this backwards as I'm cranking on this thing. We'll see. You can certainly get some tension on here. Whoa. We'll call that good, shall we? Wow. That's something else right there. That'll be nice. Well, I think the bundle is going to sit there for now. I don't have the forks for the tractor, and this downhill slope, along with the brush right there, doesn't allow me to square up very good with that mini skid steer. And because of that, I can't get it lifted up as high as I need to. I could probably fish around with it for a while and get it, but eventually what'll happen is I'll fish around too long and I'll end up breaking the bundle apart and it'll all be for naught. We'll get the tractor out here, get it moved out of the way. Now that reminds me, I need to grade back here a little bit so we don't have this hill. And I might also consider stacking it a bit lighter, and maybe I'll move it over here and that way I have more room to work. But lots of things to consider. First time around went well, that's the main thing. And so, yeah, anyways, onwards. And just before we wrap up here, folks, I've got one more thing to tell you about, and it involves power out here. Not only at my sawmill where I have no electricity, but also out in the woods where I have no electricity. I'm often needing electricity for some of my corded tools, maybe to charge my cell phone, sometimes to charge my camera, and even batteries on my tools. What I'm often using is a Bluetti power source, and Bluettis have been around the channel for quite some time. They've been huge supporters of my channel, and I thank them for that. Today what they've done is they've actually sent me a brand new Bluetti that I'm going to put to the test out here on the channel. Now if you see this thing out in action, just know that it's brand new to me. This is a smaller version of some of their other Bluetti power sources that are out there. And one thing I like about it is it only weighs 25 pounds. Now it's still got 1800 watts. And with that, that's still going to provide me all the DC or AC power that I need. I can also put this into the car, charge it in the car. I can also use some solar panels to get that thing charged back up. But this thing's been on today. It's been running my sign, and if you haven't seen that, that's a beautiful thing as well. And I also use it, as I said, to run some of my corded tools. Sometimes when I get out here and I need power, if I don't have it, I have to run all the way back to the shop, and that's a headache. So I bring this thing along, or I even put this thing in the tractor, the golf cart, and I make my way out in the woods if I need to repair something mechanical. This is what I use for it. Now in terms of the output, you can see there, that's going to go ahead and plug into my solar panels if I need to. And the solar panels, examples of those, are folded up right here. You see them right there. Down here, here's the DC output. Two 12-volt connections. And if I press this button, so I'm at 75% right now, it gives me a basically an estimation of how long this would run using this piece of equipment. So 75 hours I could still run. There's my output, my wattage output, and that's with that sign going you saw a minute ago. If I wanted DC, I would click on that. I don't want DC right now because I have nothing plugged in, so right now I'm running off AC. You can see the 4 AC outlets there. And then down along the bottom, here's where I plug my cell phone in. And if you have some other devices like my camera charger, that would get plugged in here and here. So very handy unit. So if you hang around, you'll see the solar panels out and about out here, and I'll leave those out here even when I am here, and that'll just provide a charge on this unit here. If this thing ever goes all the way down to 0, if I'm getting 1,000 watts of input into the solar panels, I believe I can get that thing back up to charge, full charge, in about 70 minutes, they say. Now I can also plug that into the wall if I need to, and it's so small I could just throw it in the tractor and take it back to the shop to do so. I think if it's completely dead, you can bring it back to life right to 80%. I think they say in about 45 minutes. Anyways, big thanks to you again, Bluetti. You saved the day quite a number of times. That time I was without power, we had that big ice storm back in March. I was without power for like, I think it was 4 or 5 days. And the Bluettis were what was keeping things going. If you can imagine, you can't let your fridge and freezer go because you'll lose all your food. And so I was utilizing the Bluettis to keep all the essentials going. So that's going to do it for me here today. Make sure you come back next time. I'll be back out here either banding material, cutting material, or cleaning up material out there in the woods. This never-ending cleanup job, because of that massive ice storm, seems like it's never going to end, but I assure you it will one day. You just got to stay positive, take one step at a time, and hopefully before too long, things will get back to normal. As always, if you did like this video, please do me that favor, give it the old like-a-roo. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.